Well, hello all, and welcome back to 115 Gaming, your home for all the tips and tools you need to excel at your games of Six Siege, the board game. And this morning, I just want to do this quick little low-key video today, not much editing, just I wanted to make a very simple, practical video, and that video is going to be a tabletop simulator tutorial for those who have never played Tabletop Simulator before, who want to play Six Siege but are a little daunted by a tabletop simulator. This is completely understandable if you've never played Tabletop Sim before. It's kind of confusing and weird, and like it just doesn't seem right. And for those of us who've been playing for a while and we've gotten used to all these weird things, we kind of take for granted how weird it is to start out on Tabletop Sim. So I would like to give a tutorial for those who have never played before, and hopefully this will get more people involved in playing Six Siege with us here in the Discord, and so we can get more games, maybe even, you know, like a tournament set up down the road. So that's what we're going to do today. Right here I've got Tabletop Simulator booted up. And the first thing that you want to do is you actually want to load the Six Siege mod into your Tabletop Sim before you even load up the app right here, Tabletop Simulator. And you can do that two ways. One, if you go into Steam, you can click the Tabletop Sim page and hit the Workshop tab. And from the Workshop tab, you can search for the Six Siege mod. And you want to find the mod that's called the thecrobros Digital Edition, and it's made by Roheen. And then you click on that when you find it, and you just hit subscribe. And when you hit subscribe to a mod, it'll automatically load into your Tabletop Sim app. The other way you can do it is you can, from the Discord, or from the Kickstarter update, you can just click on the link to the new mod, and it'll bring you right to a web page through Steam where you can automatically subscribe that way. So those are pretty easy. And once you've subscribed to the mod, you just boot up Tabletop Simulator, and what you would want to do is you could either join a game or create a game. So in this instance, let's create a game. We'll just do single player for now because it's just us. And you can see here, this tab is going to pop up. Up here, you've got a bunch of classic games that just come with Tabletop Sim. Here are some locked DLC for things. This bottom tab are games that you've played, things that are saved or in progress. But this is what you want to look at right here, your workshop. So anything you subscribe to in Steam is going to pop up here in the workshop, and you can see I've actually got a bunch of games that I'm subscribed to here, and you're looking for this mod right here. This is the Six Siege, the board game, core box, digital version for TTS official. So it's going to have a picture of this box on it, and it should say core box digital version. So this should pop up. All right. So what happens is when you load up, you just click on the mod you want, and you click load, and then you just want to give it a couple of minutes to load. All right, so you want to wait to do anything until it says loading complete. All right, so this is what you're going to look at as soon as you load up the game. And you'll notice if you've never played Tabletop Sim before, you'll be really confused because there's no board. There's a bunch of pieces over here. Like, what is all this? So let's walk through this one at a time. So firstly, for the most part, you can ignore all of the stuff up here and all of the stuff here on the side. You don't really need to use any of these to play this mod, so you can just ignore all of this stuff. These are all optional things. The only thing that I would say that you might want to keep in mind is you might want to click on this Games Cube to save your game if you have to pause your game and come back to it later. So saving allows you to pause the game and come back, but other than that, you can ignore all of this stuff here on the side. Okay, and I noticed that my webcam is covering up, so I'll show this other thing too here. So let me just move my camera over to this corner. Right over here in this corner of the screen, this is where your username is going to pop up. And before you can do anything, what you want to do is you want to click on this icon and you want to click change color. And this should pop up, right? There are these colored circles, all right? And you have to click on one of these to select the team that you're going to play. So blue, you click the blue circle if you want to play attackers, you click the orange circle if you want to pick defenders, and if you're spectating, you hit the gray. And that way, if you click your spectator role, you actually can't touch any of the components, so you're not going to mess anything up. So let's say that we're going to be attackers, so we would click blue. The camera will automatically switch us over to this side of the table, and this is what we'll be looking at. Okay. So let's get some more basics out of the way. Firstly, you use WASD to move around the board. All right. You use the regular left mouse click to be able to pick up a component and move it around. And then you use the right click, and as long as you hold the right mouse button, you can actually change your camera angle however you want. So right now I'm holding down the mouse button and I'm moving around my mouse in order to change the camera. So you can switch from a top-down view. You can kind of get a little angle like this, so you can simulate what it feels like being at a table, or you can just swap around and just do whatever weird whack angle you want. It's all up to you. And so I like to keep this kind of view right here because I like to feel like I'm actually sitting at one of the sides of the table. But you do whatever works for you. Okay, so this is something that's not explained in the mod, but as part of this new digital box mod, you need to be able to set up the game because nothing is set up. So what do you do? All right, so firstly, what you're going to do is you're going to come over to this side of the table, and there are going to be the two maps in the core box. There's Consulate and there's Clubhouse. So you and the person you're playing with, you decide what you would want to play. So let's just say we're going to decide on the basic Consulate. You would hit this place button. And when you hit the place button on Consulate, it will automatically set up the board and all the obstacles for you. So you don't have to do any of that stuff. All you have to do is come over here to either map and you just hit place and it sets it up automatically. Super easy. And then all you have to do is you have to pick which mode do I want to play. Do I want to play control or bomb or hostage? So let's just say we're gonna do the regular bomb one. So what you do is, all right, so this is kind of weird, but basically what you're gonna do is this is like a bottomless bag. And what you do is you have to left click and pull the mode out of this picture like this. You set it up on this little 6 icon here, and then you hit place. And when you do that, it sets up all the tokens you need for bombs. So right here you can see these are the 3 bomb miniatures that you need, and it does the automatic mission setup for you. So the first thing you do is you pick which map you want to play, you hit place, and then it's going to pop out the 3 modes. You drag the mode you want to play by left clicking on this picture and pulling it out onto this little 6 square here, and then you hit place. And now you've got the whole mode and map already set up for you. Boom, right there. Super easy. So then what you guys are going to want to do is you're going to want to pick your operators, and the operators are on this side of the table. So you can see here, if you're starting to get the hang of it, you're realizing that anything you need to do for setup, you're just going to hit these place buttons. All right, so when you hit place, what's going to happen is it's going to pop out these operator pictures. And what you do, these are other bottomless bags. So what you do is, let's say we want to play Thermite. You're going to left click again to pull a piece out of this. All right. And whatever piece you grab, you're going to set on one of these squares here at the bottom. So let's just say we're going to grab our teammate. I'm just grabbing a bunch of random operators. Yeah, we'll do Thatcher. And let's say we picked, Flores. Okay. So while you're holding the left mouse button, you may be wondering how I'm rotating a piece that I'm holding. The way you rotate a piece is by using the Q or E buttons next to the WASD. And whichever one you click is going to rotate something while you're holding it. So I'm rotating it this way, and I stick it on the 5 operator squares that are on each person's side. And once again, you just hit place, and it automatically sets up all of the pieces you need for those operators. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, you've got all the cubes, you've got the pieces, the Overwatch markers, you've got the activations. So this is all super easy. Basically, to set up, you just have to find what you need, and you just hit the place button. All right, and you could do the same thing for the defenders. So let's just say they're going to grab these guys: Jaeger, Smoke, Pulse. We got to make sure they actually slot on there. Mute. All right. We change our camera angle here, and then we just click place. Boom, 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 boom. Super easy. So right now, everybody's set up. They have got all of their operator tokens, and you can go ahead and begin your setup phase right now. So you notice that there are these timers here on these sides. Over here, these are the gameplay timers, and these are the setup timers. I always like to actually move these timers closer to the board so I can see them, because sometimes I just forget that they're there if they're off to the side, and I won't be looking at my time. So you can pick these up just by like holding them and dragging them over closer to the table. And then something else I like to do, and this is totally a preference thing, but I figure I might as well teach you, is that sometimes I also notice, because I'm zoomed in here, you'll notice that like sometimes like I won't actually see the time because it's kind of stuck in the corner of the screen. So I actually like to make the timers a little bit bigger. And the way you do that is you can hold Shift while your mouse is hovering over a piece and press the plus icon. And while you're holding that, something will get bigger. If you want to make something smaller, you hold Shift, hover over the item, and press the minus key, and it'll get smaller. So that's just something that I do as personal preference, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, so now when you're setting up, you'll notice that there are these little bags over here. And basically what these are is these are bags that just hold an infinite amount of whatever components you need. So an infinite amount of cubes, wound markers, breaches, stunned, located, walls, right? And the cool thing is, because you can always pull these pieces out of here whenever you're done with these pieces, you can always hover over a piece and just delete them manually by hitting backspace. All right. Or if you don't want to delete something, you can drag a piece. So let's say I'm done with this piece. You can drag a piece over to this trash can icon. You just let go of it and it'll drop in. It'll automatically get rid of that piece for you. All right. So anything that you're doing on the board, it's just a regular left click. You hold it, you move it, you do whatever you want with it. You know, you can put the pieces on here, right? You can see here. And now there are two options here for Overwatch. You can either manually use these Overwatch pieces in order for your operators to go in Overwatch, or Overwatching is also scripted in this. While you're hovering over a piece, you can hit 1 or 2. You can see it's got a 1 out of 2 there icon. So 1 out of 2, this is Jaeger unoverwatched, this is Jaeger overwatched. So this keeps the Overwatch token automatically stuck to the operator. And if you want to unoverwatch, you just hit 1 while hovering over them. So it's just a little shortcut. All right. And then a couple of other minor things that are going to be useful. If you want to roll dice, you can select multiple pieces, and that's by holding the left mouse key and dragging a nice area over every piece you want to move. And then when I pick up, I'm going to pick up everything. So that's super nice. So the way you can roll is you can, you know, shake the dice like this and throw them on the table and they'll automatically roll. What we like to do is we like to drag them over here, and while they're selected, you can just hit R a bunch of times. R stands for roll, and it'll automatically shoot them up and it'll roll. Boom, there's your result right there. All right, so you can select all the dice manually, or you can select everything you want and roll. It's up to you. All right. Another feature of the R key is that you'll notice here for the operator tokens is that the operator decoy tokens are stacked. So you can see here, these are the 2 different decoy tokens. And the way you can reveal them is you press F, which stands for flip. So it's easy to remember. R rolls dice, F flips tokens. So when you're hovering over something, if you press F, it'll flip the token. So you can see this is the decoy and this is the real one. Another feature of the R, you could also use R for random. And when you're hovering over a stack of things, you can press R and it'll shuffle them. So I like to shuffle my decoy tokens so that my opponent doesn't know which one is the real one. And then you can just pull them off of each other. And if you want to look at them secretly without your opponent noticing, you just hit Alt-Shift. And what's going to happen is it will show a zoomed version of the token, but it will only show the bottom side to you, not to your opponent. All right, so we can do the same thing here. So that's Shift-Alt. All right. You can remember that because you're being shifty. If you ever want to just look at something, like let's say you want to take a look at Twitch over here, but you don't want to have to like scroll all the way over and zoom down, no problem. You can just hit Alt by itself, boom. And a big version of whatever icon you're hovering over will pop up. So here we can look at Twitch. And from here you can actually just, this way you don't have to like be flipping around to look at your opponent's stuff. You can just be like, wait, what does Glaz do again? Hover over it, press Alt, boom. There's Glaz right there, all right? So Alt to look at something, Shift-Alt to look at something sneakily, right? And if you can't remember Shift-Alt, this is also something that not a lot of people know about TTS, but there's this little area back where you're situated on your side of the table. There's this little box area. It's called your hand. All right, when you put something in your hand, so this is our hand. When you put something in your hand, so let's say we put these tokens in our hand, they're gonna pop up here on the bottom of our screen. And now we can actually flip them. And when something is flipped in our hand, only we will see them. Right, so from our opponent's point of view, they'll see that we have these 2 tokens in, but they won't see what they are. So if you want to be able to just look at all of your tokens in your hand, you can do that. Just be careful that when you pull something out of your hand, it will be showing whatever side you were looking at. So make sure if you want to deploy your tokens this way that you flip them back over before you pull them out of your hand. But that's a way you can look at your tokens secretly. You can either do Shift-Alt or you can drop tokens in your hand. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I believe that's pretty much all you need to play the game. You just need to know to just play. You just need to know roll. You need to know Alt and Shift-Alt. That'll help you out. I'm thinking that's pretty much everything. Oh, the last thing is that throughout the game you're probably going to want to tag a certain square like this. Boop. So the way you do that is just by hitting Tab. So when you hit the Tab key, a little arrow pops out. And if you want to draw a line of sight, you can just kind of zoom in. Holding the Tab key will generate this little, this line. Now, I don't know why it's being so weird. It's probably like the snap feature is being weird. But usually, you should be able to draw a line pretty easily from whatever point to another point. So I don't know if this is because of the snap feature or not. But holding tab, you can draw a line. And this is how you can determine line of sight from center dot to center dot. It's being weird right now. I'm not really sure what that's about. Might be something that has to be fixed by Roheen. Okay, so that is pretty much everything you need to know to play 6 Siege on Tabletop Simulator. Once you load up the game, honestly, Roheen did an incredible job. All of the setup and annoying manual stuff you'd have to do is it's done for you. You just grab the map you need, you hit place, it sets it up. You grab the operators you want, you set them up in front of you, you hit place, it sets up the operators. All you need to do now is just practice and get used to moving your camera around and remembering all the different keys. So, you know, Alt to look, Shift Alt to look sneakily, R to roll, and F to flip. I think those are the 4 or 5 things that you're going to use the most. So that right there is how you play 6 Siege on Tabletop Simulator. I hope that's super helpful. I hope that this is going to allow more of you guys to be able to actually join us and play more games of 6 Siege, because I want as many people as possible to play this game, and I don't want this barrier of the digital tabletop to hold you guys back, because honestly, once you guys play a couple games like this, it really is, you get used to it. It's still kind of weird, but after a couple of games, you don't really think about it anymore, and it starts to become second nature as you start moving around and moving pieces. It becomes a lot more intuitive the more you play it. And so what I would suggest is, if you're brand new to the game and also brand new to Tabletop Simulator, play the mode where you don't use a timer. Because the timer is a lot harder, obviously, on this digital version where you're moving around and trying to like move around pieces digitally. Whereas obviously it would be a lot easier to just pick up a piece and throw it to the side. It's a lot more effort on Tabletop Sim. So while you're learning Tabletop Simulator, take your time and use the no timer variant of the game so you can get used to all these controls. And then once you're used to it, use the timer, because I think it's the best way to play and I think it's super fun. So that's my advice. That's the tutorial for the Tabletop Simulator module of 6 Siege. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and until next week, see ya.